Welcome to M&C Talk this morning. Our discussion is on fatherhood and what fatherhood means to us. I want to take this time to shout out all the fathers at M&C Group of Companies for the wonderful job that you've been doing and continue to do. This time we are going to have a very lively show discussion, and we're going to share some interesting experiences and stuff that we fathers have gone through. Okay, so without further ado, we want to share that fatherhood is a profound journey filled with moments of joy, challenges, and growth. It means embracing the responsibilities of guiding, protecting, and nurturing new life. It's about being a role model, a source of strength, and a pillar of support. Fatherhood is a lifelong commitment to love unconditionally, to provide stability, and to present both big milestones and everyday moments in its legacy of wisdom. So you see, the values and experience passed on from generation to next generation. Fatherhood is a bond that transcends words, connection, and shapes not only the lives of our children, but also our own. It's a privilege to be your host today at Ryan Headley at our talk show. And I want to take this time to welcome our two gentlemen who are here with us. That is Mr. Ewan Edwin and Mr. Fabian Jagroup.
Thank you.
So welcome, gentlemen, to M&C Talk Show, episode 2,
All right.
where we're going to be discussing about fatherhood.
Sure.
So we will be having an interesting discussion this morning. So let me just start off by just asking, just to break the ice, how long have you been a father? So I'll start with you, Mr. Edwin.
Not long, just 25 years.
Not long.
Not long.
25 years is quite some time, but that's
No,
good.
that's not
Well
long.
experienced, man.
Considering Ja Group has been one for 50 years, I think.
I have been a father for my first son is 22, my second son is 10 years old.
Okay. Right? So you combine that together, you have some 42 years experience of father.
That is correct. Yes.
All right. Well done. Oh, for me, I'm still young in the game. I'm just a year and 9 months. So I have a lot of catching up to do. All right, but let's continue as we discuss, okay? So my first question is going to be, how has fatherhood changed you as a person? How has fatherhood changed you as a person? Anyone can start.
Fatherhood has actually changed me because it made me more responsible. And between my first son, between the years of 1 year to 6 years, his mom was around. So that assisted me greatly in helping nurture him, growth and development and all of that. But after 6 years, his mom passed in an accident. So it became challenging because now I have to play the role of both mother and father to him. And obviously, this can be really challenging.
I can imagine.
And at the time, 6 years old, it was not just, he was actually in an accident. So it was not a situation where his mom just passed and he's okay, and then I had to take on the responsibility of being both mother and father. So I think that responsibility, when you're a single parent, especially a father, it can be challenging. So yes, fatherhood has changed me a lot. To become more responsible, to be there for him at all times.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Well, with me, when I actually became a father, right, to be honest, I wasn't ready to actually have a child of my own.
Okay.
But in all fairness, before that, I raised my 2 sisters on my mom's side. I actually have a pretty large family, on my father's side. But, being there, when I say raising my 2 sisters, I'll just refer to the youngest of my 2 sisters because that's the one I actually spent the most time raising, from a baby and so forth. So I was actually, I knew what it took to be a father. But when my daughter came about, to be honest, we were not ready for it. Yeah, but when she did come, in as much as we were not ready for it, hey, she's here, and then it really was a an easier step because I had the slight experience with raising my little sisters and so forth. She spent a lot more time with her mom because like we were not really living together and stuff. So it's a lot more visitations and so on and so forth. And like, you know, 25 years later to see that she's graduated from college, you know, and now she's working and that sort of stuff, you know, it's time to kind of sit back and relax. I would have loved to have had another one, but unfortunately, you know, stuff can't happen.
All right. Interesting stuff, guys. What do you think is the most important lesson that you've learned from your own father?
Boy, let me start on this one. I'd say my father has 40 children.
40?
Yeah. All right.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah. And the lesson I've learned from my dad is to be a little more responsible with regards to life and so forth, because I didn't want to be in that category. You have some of my siblings who wanted to jump on the bandwagon and be like my father because it's a whole ego thing, you know? But a lot of us were a little more responsible. So let's, you know, I usually refer to us in terms of numbers. So from number, I'm number 35, from number 33 and so forth, we all have one each. Okay. Because we truly understood, like, you know, seeing my father not being able to give the attention to so many of us. Right. You don't want to be in a situation where you'd end up just like him. So this is one of the lessons that I learned from him. And I'd say, like, you know, it's more borders on being responsible. Okay.
Well, my father has 6 of us, right?
Nice guy.
And there are many lessons that he actually taught us from an early age, and some of these are Christian values, right? My father, sometimes he would come home on a Saturday night drunk, but on a Sunday morning, he would make sure that all of us attend church. While I'm not here to, you know, preach, but I believe that that value, attending church and being a Christian, is important in any family. Now, I'm not here to speak about denomination because I believe that whatever the denomination is, it is important in the growth and well-being of any family.
Agreed.
Right? But it's not denomination. It's not religion per se, but it's denomination, whatever the religion is. And I think this is one of the greatest values that he has instilled in us. There are other things that he instilled. For example, he always tells us, whatever your earnings are, please put something away for rainy days. Correct. You know, and I think this is another thing that was important, although he passed away about 8 years ago, that all of us have that in us, that we work. It could be $100 a month. Put it on the side. At the end of the year, 100 by 12, $1,200. If you have to put $1,200 one time from your salary, it may be difficult, challenging. So that is something that my father instilled in us. And the next thing is honesty. When you do things, you work for your reputation. Do not do things and then you have a bad reputation at the end of the day. Your reputation is important. And anywhere and everywhere you go, if you hear a Jack Group surname, somebody must have a smile on their face. Somebody must be happy. So you will not hear, you know, something negative or a bad reputation or reputation. The person integrity is very, very important. And those are the little things that my father instilled in us.
Okay. Those are great values.
It's actually great that you guys have actually brought up 2 major points in terms of, from your perspective, in terms of understanding, okay, my father had so many kids, and we would have learned, hey, we don't want to go down that road. We want to be more responsible. So I hear responsibility, I hear honesty, being accountable, I hear
good Christian values.
Good Christian values. And really and truly, when we look at it, this is actually what our society needs a little more of, right? And so it's so important that even if, whether it was a bad experience or good experience, you're able to take something out of it and also apply it to your life, so something that you can pass on. When you look at it in our society, do you agree that, hey, we need to have more fathers who probably instill some more values in our kids today? Do you agree with that statement?
Yes, I agree. I agree with that, that the fathers today, they need to instill more value, more positive values in the kids. For example, my son, my first one, and the second one, every Sunday morning, even if I'm tired or he comes home whatever time, on a Sunday morning he would wake up and tell me, we got to go to church. There is another saying that you can talk as much as you want to your kids, but it stays at the back of their mind. You will speak to them. If you instill the right values in them, they may not listen to you at first, but it will always be there, re-register right in them. And I think it is important that fathers these days try their best to instill positive values in their kids in order for us to have a better society.
Any take on that?
Well, I agree with Fabian there. We're not talking religion,
No.
but when you listen to what the Bible teaches, the man is the head of the household, right? And you have to be the example for your children. If you're not, so for example, I'll use my father. Yeah, I wouldn't say my father was a good example for us because of what he was doing. Yeah, and my father was married, but he was going all around the place, and out of that you have a number of children on the outside. Yeah. So what did that instill in some of us? And like I said, my older male siblings decided, hey, there's this whole ego thing. Oh, you're not like your father, you have to be like your father, blah, 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 and that sort of stuff. So you have to grow up and, it's a macho thing. So I have to be like my father. So my eldest brother has 15 children, The next one after that, I think, has 8. And, and it started like that and so on and so forth. Yeah? So these were the values that I think he may have instilled in them because mentally that's what they were thinking, that what my father was doing was a good thing. Yeah, but nowadays, as we grow, some of us did learn from that experience with my father and realize hey, that wasn't the right thing. A lot of us have good Christian backgrounds as well, right? And then we realize, hey, that ain't right. Yeah, so some of us were responsible enough, and like I said earlier, what I learned from my father is being responsible.
Okay. What would you say is or how do you balance work and family life? We understand that, work at M&C can be very, challenging, or there's always a lot of stuff to do. Understanding that, how do you balance work and family life as a father?
In all fairness, my daughter moved to the US at the age of 14. Yeah. Good thing with technology is that, you have certain apps that you could do a video call with, and, it was constant. How do we balance it? How do I balance it? So, let's look at it this way. I get home, and when my daughter wants to talk, and she has a FaceTime call, it will go on and on and on. So she was at school, high school, so she'd call about whatever happened for the day. And it's a matter of every single detail on a FaceTime call. So I get home about 6. Sometimes she'd call me at the office and I'd be like, I'm still at work. And she'd be like, okay, when I get home, I'll call you. Get home, you call, and sometimes, probably all 10 o'clock, still on that video call. It's a good thing sometimes the battery die out, because that way you can say, hey, battery's dying out, so you can so forth. So that's how I was able to balance it. So from work, a bit stressed out from work, you go home, you have to deal with that one and so forth. But hey, that's your responsibility as a father. If she wants to talk for 6 hours, that's what's going to make her feel better. You unfortunately have to stay there. Now, let me take that back. I shouldn't say unfortunately, because that would help you bond with them.
Correct.
You understand? So now you could go back and say yeah, we had that conversation and you said this, that, and you actually get to know them. Right. Yeah.
Well, for me, Like you rightly said, Ryan, work can be challenging, and the type of work I do at M&C Shipping is sales and marketing. And there are customers who would call you on a Saturday and on a Sunday when they buy an item on, say, Amazon, right? And they want the address for King Ocean Warehouse in Miami, and they're on Amazon website on a Saturday and a Sunday. They would pick up the phone and they would call you. You know, what do you tell them? Do you tell them, hey, it's my weekend, I cannot attend to you, and call them on a Monday morning? No, you can't do that. You know, so basically my work is a 24-hour work. And while it is important to find a balance between family life and work life, there can be challenges with that. Even sometimes at church. Again, I would like to mention church.
No, that's fine.
You know, I go to the church at Kubarel sometimes, the Catholic church where the nuns are. And a lot of the customers do attend church there. And after church, they will tell me, when is King Ocean coming next week? Although it's a Sunday, or it was my flat rack shipped on Geese Lines. Right. So what do you tell them? I just leave church, you know, I can't attend to you now, you know, it's a weekend, it's a Sunday. No. Sometimes it can be challenging. But to every challenge, you turn it into an opportunity or something fun. So you answer them. You may not have the right response for them at the time, but you provide them with an answer. And if you do not have the response, you give it to them on the Monday. Right. Yeah, you don't just ignore them and tell them, hey, it's a Saturday or Sunday. But some of the things that I have used to balance work and family life is, for example, as I told you, from 6 years, my son, mom passed. I used to take my vacation when he's on vacation, right? For example, summertime, I would be out. Easter and December time, I would be out to be there with him. And I would do the things that he loved. So basically, as a single parent, as a single father, you put yourself on the back burner to accommodate him.
Yeah.
You know, if he likes the beach and if he likes the cinema, you know, you do the things. And as they grow, he's now 22, there are different things they tend to like or get into. For example, right now, the first one likes to watch Caris in Viewfort. Okay. So that's a different
enthusiastic.
That's right, that kind of thing. And the younger one likes swimming, he likes swimming. So these are some of the things that, you know, I make time for them, yeah.
Funny enough, you used a word a while ago when you talk about the balance, putting yourself on the back burner. Even I myself have found that the things I probably would have done before, I don't actually have the time. So you would know I play a lot of basketball, right? Yeah. And from the time this child came, it's like basketball from 4 or 5 days in the week playing basketball to probably just one, or none at all.
That's correct.
And so that is probably a battle you try to, wow, I have to give that up, because you want to be able to spend the time in terms of nurturing, talking, bonding with them as much as possible, because you hear people say they grow up so quickly. So make sure you spend that additional time with them as much as possible, because time you blink your eye, they're probably bigger and ready to leave home. So it's important that I think as far as sometimes we have to put our work on the back burner, and probably if we have to tell somebody, okay, I need an hour. If I have to spend a solid hour with my child or my family, I mean, you have to do that, because if you don't, sometimes the children, you grow up and it's like you're non-existent. Yeah. So it's tough.
You'd have to catch up.
Because like you said, hey, we're the head of the home, we have to provide. And if we don't provide, right, you'll not stop hearing how you feel in that regard. So yes, we know we have to provide, we have to work. And I think it's also a proud moment for us as fathers when we know we can provide for our family, but at the same time, we have to know when to say, you know what, a break to spend that.
So a lot of fathers will think that providing for the family, it's financial. Yeah, but I'll use an example of a neighbor that I had growing up in the late 70s and 80s, you know, and Fabian can, you know, relate to what I'm about to say. So this guy has, like, I think about 11 or 12 children. Yeah, with his wife. And as far as he's concerned, he goes out, he works every day. He come home, you know, as long as he can provide, and you know what we had back in the day, Fabian, a quarter bag of rice, quarter bag
Don't
of
give
flour.
the impression that I'm that old. Don't give them the impression that I'm that old.
Quarter bag of sugar, right? Some salt, a box of pigtails, you know, some pig snout and hairs and so forth. He put that there. Now you didn't have fridge and those kind of things.
Right.
So you had to literally load that with salt, put that in a bucket, you know. So as far as he's concerned, he's done that. That's it.
He's provided.
But there is no emotional support. You know, he's never around to be with the kids, supporting them with whatever bad day they had at school and so forth. Now, in all fairness, back in the day, we really did not have bad days at school.
Yeah,
we didn't. It was a knit community. Everybody, all children, was everybody's child. So my neighbor down the road there, I could go there, eat there, sleep there, you know, the whole 9 years. It was just one community. Everybody used to look out for each other's child. But like I said, this guy, as far as he's concerned, I do my part. I give you all food. I give you all money to buy clothes and those kind of things. Well, we didn't really have money to buy clothes. We used to, like, you know, just take pieces of cloth, sew it up and things, or share the clothes and so forth. That's the fun part of growing up.
Yeah.
You know, but then, like, his children grew up and it's like, you know, yeah, he was our father. In what way? Oh yeah, he gave us food. But that's it. So now he's older and he's looking for emotional support from them. He's not getting it and he's wondering, like, what happened? Where did I go wrong? But you were never there to talk or listen to them. As far as you're concerned, I provide food, so I've done my job. So, you know, when you look at fathers today, you have a new age of parents, all right? Fathers and mothers. Most growing up, we were influenced by the older folk who had a lot of parental values based on, you know, knowing what a family was like, because we did not have a lot of distractions. Nowadays, you have a lot of distractions. And by that, I mean social media and so on, takes away from actual family time. You know, we didn't have that back in the day. Like I said, it's a close-knit, sit down, you know, we sit down around a flambeau, you know, and so forth. I mean, my neighbor, you know, consider him like Pop, you know, because as far as he's concerned, like, hey, come talk to me and so on and so forth. My father wasn't around, but my neighbor was a father figure. Also the other neighbor down the road, you know. You don't have that now.
Just 2 points I want to elaborate on this is fatherhood is actually a blessing, right? And there are many persons whom I know who have been married who wish they had kids or a child, and unfortunately they're not able to. So fatherhood in itself is something that persons need to appreciate and give thanks to the Most High, because it is actually a blessing. And in addition to what Johan is saying, is raising a child or children should be a societal thing, not just one person. For example, from 6 years, I transferred my son to Carmen Rennie when he was 6, and sometimes I would be busy at work. I would just call my brother and say, hey, pick up my son and leave him at your office until 4:30, and it wouldn't be a problem. Even now, I have a sister who's a nurse, and she would call him and say, hey, pick up my daughter at Tapia school, and she would do that. So, and even the company we work for, I'm just saying that to show you how important the other institutions or in society are in raising a child or children, and sometimes we do not recognize that. Sometimes the institution that we work for, if we ask them for vacation in August or April, and we know the reason why we are asking for that is because of our child, or we want to take them on a vacation, the institution sometimes or most times work with us, saying, hey, you know, hey, go ahead. They make it happen. So it is not just one person raising a child, and there is that. So it's a society raising a child.
It takes a village.
It takes a village to raise a child. So the entire community is involved in raising a child, because one thing would affect the child or the children and eventually the society.
All right. As we come to our end, I just have one question and then we're going to wrap up. What advice would you give to a child, or your child rather, or children, if they became a parent? What advice would you give them?
if my sons, or when they when they become a parent, right? Some of the things that I have instilled in them, I'm hoping that they take it and they run with it. Honesty. Sometimes people would ask me, hey, why is it you have all your money, your joint account with your son? He was 6, 8, 9, 10, whatever age, children. There is a fear that they will just take your money and no. Honesty is important. Good Christian values are important. So some of the things that I have instilled in my son, I'm hoping that he would take it and run with. Being patient, especially now.
Patience.
You have to be patient. With your partner, with your kid or children.
You have to be patient overall.
Overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah. And another thing is be a role model to your child or children, because children watch what the parents do. They might not say to you directly, but they observe it, and it's been registered. So be a role model at all times to your kids, and these are some of the values. So these are some of the things that I would tell my son. Yeah.
Yeah. Same here. And again, with regards to a role model, you have to be it's not just a role model, a very good role model. Instill good Christian values in your child. With Christianity, the Bible teaches us how to raise our children. It also teaches us how to behave properly. Yeah. And if we can, instill these into our children, they themselves can instill that in their children, our grandchildren growing up. As a parent, if you keep talking to them, and communication is always key. And by communication, I don't mean like, a phone call here and so forth. Being able to sit down and listen and talk. Right. Like I said back in the day, it's true we were doing it long distance, but sitting down and talk for hours and so forth, you get to understand a little more about them and so forth. So, when you have displayed that with them, they in turn can display it with their children. Some parents now actually look for parenting advice online, which honestly I don't think is a good thing. But honesty is also very important, like Jack Group said. You don't want to have a dishonest child, because that will create problems going down the line. So you have to instill with them honesty, trust. You understand? Patience is important, because if you have impatient children, again, that leads to trouble. So honesty, good Christian values, being able to trust. These are some of the things that you.
Some interesting stuff that you guys have actually shared in terms of some of the things that you have gone through as fathers, and some of the experiences that you would have shared. And even as you gave your final thought, what came to mind was the challenges that fathers face even now. And you mentioned distractions, you mentioned social media, that a lot of probably young kids, or even the one that I have, imagine they gravitate to the gadgets, right? And it's not that you can literally pull it and away. This is just the world we live in. We're on our phones, we take calls. So they're seeing all of those things. So they mimic when they take the phone, they're like, hey, hello. And sometimes you may like grab it or you don't want them to have it. But we now need to manage that, okay, they're living in the 21st century. We have these things. How do we manage that time? That they don't spend too much time probably watching these things or, taking all of this in. Trying to provide that balance where we talk about, okay, where do we spend time in probably storytelling, talking to them, how was your day, what do you want to become, what do you want to do, sharing your experiences as a father, what you went through with your father. Sometimes our kids don't even know us because we don't spend enough time. And so I think fatherhood is so vital to our society. When we are there, we see a glimpse of what society can be when fathers are in the home. And we also see a glimpse of when fathers are not present in the home, what we can experience. And so I think we just want to encourage our fathers to continue striving to be the best, striving to be the best version of yourself, trying to encourage your children in the right direction. And yes, we will fail. We know that. There's no one blueprint that says that, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. Yeah. So you will fail, you will figure things out as you go along the way. But I think all in all, shows that we have committed fathers, and we want to encourage fathers, hey, continue on this wonderful journey of fatherhood.
And just to add to something you said, like, don't be afraid of failure.
Correct.
Yeah. You know, we always and we should learn from our failures. It's actually okay to get it wrong more than once. That way you can learn from those experiences and say like, okay, this is what I'm going to do until you get it right. You understand? You have time is of the essence when it comes to raising a child, because they're not going to stay at one age or one size forever. Yeah? But making the errors along the way would help you to become a better father. That way, you know, you learn from it and you can take the correct step.
Development stage,
to, right, to be able to correct it going forward.
All right. So here you have it, folks. Thank you for joining us with M&C Talk on Fatherhood. Take care. See you next time.
All right.